Hi there and welcome back to Japan, where it's time for us to finish. Oh my god, every time I take off the headphones, this hat looks really weird. Let's pull it down. Doesn't go well with headphones, but it goes well with covering my head. Anyway, so yes, we were just covering Kagerou. Well, I just heard Kagerou, and we're going to do a review of that now, just to say those things I usually do. This is part of a track-by-track playlist review of the whole best Scandal album. Yeah, basically it's the review of that. And if you want to follow the whole thing, then there's a playlist linked in the description below. And just so you also know, I usually do these as reaction videos, but I can't do that on this because Scandal have a lot of legal stuff around their music, and thus I'm going to be doing a review directly now. So if you haven't heard the song, if you haven't heard it recently, go check it out now. It's on Spotify, or you can check it out on the CD that maybe you bought 10 years ago. We good? And let's begin. Okay, so yeah, this was a really interesting song. I was saying on the song directly before this, Sakura Goodbye, I thought that was like the perfect ending song for an album. I still think that would have made a better ending song for the album, but on the context of, you know, looking at it as where it stands in the album, yes, I'm going to come back to mention that a few more times towards the end of this review, but primarily just starting off with how good a song this is. I think it's a really interesting one. On the surface, when you listen to it, it has a quality where it could just be sort of mistaken for a normal rock and roll song, especially with the chorus. It's oh yeah, normal, nice, I love you. It's all very sweet and innocent and nice, and it rocks along and chugs along. But in actuality, this song has a few tricks under its sleeve, which I kind of noticed as the song went on. The more I was listening to it, there's quite a few little things going on there. Now, the most obvious one is obviously the beat. There's a lot of clever things in here. It turns into a little bit, we get a snare roll at one bit, like a jigga 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 sort of thing going on. That was not a very good representation of a snare roll. Just take my word for it. And that's quite nice, the way it breaks up into that. And also there's some good little bits where the beat goes into more of a hammered da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and that's played again on the snares. In fact, a lot of the drum work was done with snares in this, but it was nice. It was always changing up. It was kind of almost interrupted the flow of the song, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, because like I say, at the core, this song was such a straight rock and roll song that in a way, kind of throwing some, you know, heavy changes into it, which usually I say, you know, the best changes are the subtle ones that just sound natural. When you've got something like this where I say, if you just played this as a straight rock song, it could be kind of dull. Those little changes actually give it a bit of life, give it a bit of insanity, make it a little bit more on edge. So I like the little crazy things that happen with the beat, and I suspect the more I hear the song and the more I get used to the fact that they're in there, the more I will enjoy them. As I say, the chorus is relatively by the numbers, but I did think there was some great stuff going on with the guitar and the bass again. The bass gets this little moment where it breaks down, it goes a little bit jazzy, and that's kind of cool. Does something a bit like the walking bass line that we heard a few tracks prior. But there's also little details in this, and this actually is one of the reasons, one of the ways that this connects to a lot of the compliments I had about Sakura Goodbye, in that it has a lot of little details in the playing. Sorry, I'm just sort of wiping stuff out of my eyes, and I just realised how terrifying that looks. Let's get back to the music. Yep. So yeah, it has those little details in how it's played. Little guitar lines are not just sort of strum. There's little clever bits in there. The chorus is fairly straight shooting, like I say, but the rest of the song, they really do build up to those choruses with some nice, interesting bits. So yes, this is not one of those songs that's going to blow your mind and change your world. And I don't really think it's necessarily the strongest song to stick at the end of your album. And it's maybe not even catchy enough for me to regard it as the single, which I'm sure it is, because this is called the album version. But it's good. It's really strong track. It just kind of doesn't quite shine in any one way enough. Like I say, it's not really catchy enough to be a single. It's not really. It's playing for those sort of crazy little twists and turns and things, which are more kind of to sort of keep your attention. And it's got that sort of feeling of like an interesting album track, rather than something that necessarily gels 100% and really gives the best possible conveyance to an emotion or a style of music. It just, like I say, it just kind of sounds like an interesting experiment that does actually work, but doesn't exactly perfect anything 100%. It feels a bit like a mishmash of ideas coming together, but as I say, none of this is enough to be a deal breaker. None of this is enough to make it a bad song. Just like I said, I wouldn't put it to the level of elevation of making it a single, although, as I mentioned, in the previous video, I did accidentally find out that 7 of the 13 songs on this album are singles. There's literally more singles than album tracks on this album. But still, I wouldn't quite say that even on that level, I wouldn't necessarily know that I would be so quick to elevate this to a status of being a single. And I definitely wouldn't put it as the last track on the album, considering how good Sakura Goodbye would be in that position. And it's got Goodbye in the title, for Christ's sake. Just put it at the end of the album. So that's actually probably my one weirdest thing about this album. I'm big on albums being a journey, and I love to have a good conclusion. And I really think there was a misstep there, not having Sakura Goodbye as the final track. But that's going to come up in my next video, because my next and final video is the one where I give the album conclusion. So I'm going to take a bit of time. I'm going to take this album out with me. I'm going to take it for a listen for it while I'm walking the dogs. I'm going to listen to it while I'm doing the shopping. I'm going to have some sit down proper listens to it. I'm going to really go over this a few times and work out with a few more heavy listens which songs sit best, which ones grow on me, which ones maybe start to lose a little bit of their charm. And then I'm going to give you a final album conclusion to go at the end of this playlist, which hopefully you're following. Yeah, I'm really hammering that point home here. And that's going to be the point where I basically sum up what I think about this album in total. I must say, though, it's been a fantastic trip, and I have actually really enjoyed this. A lot of people said this is, we're going to move on to, after this, we're going to move on to the next Scandal album and moving through them chronologically. A lot of people told me this is a really strong start to their career, and many people do feel this is their best album. Whatever follows, I do certainly think that this is a really good album, though, and I'm looking forward to pointing out why I think that. And tracks like this, certainly, like I say, even though this to me wouldn't be one of the strongest songs on the album, it's a good track, and that's nice. There was not really too much that I can pick out as being bad. There were weaker tracks and stronger tracks, but nothing too bad. So this is a great one. Good song. Even by not the best on the album stand, good song, weirdly positioned, weirdly made into a single, but you know what? It's alright, it's not bad. And that chorus is still going around in my head right now. It's going to get irritating, I think. I think this is probably the one where when I listen to the album too much, this is going to be the one that starts to drill into my brain and makes me go slightly insane. Earworm time. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. Looking forward to seeing your comments. Do you like this song a lot more than me? Is it just my subjective opinion getting a bit weird here? Tell me, obviously justify your opinions. I'd love to hear why people like things so we can start the discussion on that. Tell me what you think about the whole album, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next video when I give my conclusion for that. But for now, from Japan, thank you so much for tuning in today, and ciao ciao.
Thanks for watching. Feel free to check out more of our hundreds of videos we got online on this channel right now, or get involved in the discussion with us at the many social media links we've got in the description below, where you can suggest new videos and artists for us to check out on the channel. Or you can just do the usual YouTube stuff and comment, like, subscribe. You know how this works by now.